I know you look better than most men your age. People tell you that, but it doesn't matter what other people think. It matters what you think. You want to get to that higher level, and that's what I'm here to help you do. Take it to that higher level by giving you the 5 best ways to measure your progress when you're older. Hi, I'm Skip LaCour of Workouts for Older Men, and in this video, I want to tell you the 5 best ways to measure your progress when you're older. The 5 best ways to measure your progress when you're older. I know you're taking this seriously. You're training hard in the gym. You're watching what you eat. You want to build more muscle, lose the body fat. I know you look better than most men your age. People tell you that, but it doesn't matter what other people think. It matters what you think. You want to get to that higher level, and that's what I'm here to help you do. Take it to that higher level by giving you the 5 best ways to measure your progress when you're older. Now, I wish there was a more objective way for you to measure progress, but ultimately, you want to use the mirror as your guide. But sometimes your mind will play tricks on you, and you won't be able to depend on what you see in the mirror. And I certainly know what that's like as a 6-time national champion drug-free bodybuilder back years ago when competing was the most important thing to me. Training, eating, it was my identity, it was my lifestyle. I would look in the mirror and I would think, I am on track, everything that I'm doing is working, and I'd be very proud of what I would see in the mirror. And then it would just seem like 2 hours later, the same body, just 2 hours later, and I would think, who am I kidding? I'm not getting it done. Right? Your mind will play tricks on you in the mirror. Now, as I give you these 5 best ways to measure progress in the mirror, there are more objective ways, all right? They are ways that are more black and white, more concrete, so it will help you develop that dependence and that more certainty when you look in the mirror, right? Hey, make sure that you are subscribed to this YouTube channel, and make sure that your notifications are set so every time I post a video here on YouTube, you'll get notified. Also, comment in the section. Tell me that you're here. Tell me your age. Here I am at 58 years old, living with passion and energy. I want to help you get to the next level. Post your age. Tell me how these tips are helping you. Tell me if you had the challenges measuring your progress, and tell me how helpful these tips will be. I'm also going to tell you some ways that aren't great ways to measure progress. And these are some ways that you may have heard that you may be doing to measure your progress. I'm going to tell you why, if you don't know how to read them correctly, they might throw you off. So at the end, when I give you the 5 best ways to measure progress, I'm going to tell you about some ways that you may be measuring progress, certainly what you've heard to measure progress that might be throwing you off. Also, you want to make sure that you stick around to the end of this video because I have a special invitation, free access into my Workouts for Older Men members only website where I'll issue you a username and password absolutely free. So the 5 best ways to measure your progress when you're older. Number 1, photos. Taking pictures of your progress will help you, as time goes on, appreciate what you've done, the work you've done. Sometimes you can't see it on a day-to-day basis. Your mind will play tricks on you. Now, the strategy for taking photos is you want to take your photos on the same day every week, at the same time, in the same mirror, with the same lighting, in the same clothing, right? Let me tell you something about this too. When you take your pictures, don't be surprised if you look in the mirror, you like what you see, you take the picture, and it's like a sock in the gut. You thought you looked much better than the photos. That's normal. I know what that's like, right? So be prepared for that, but still take the photos. If you need to just file them away, do that, but you want to take the pictures every single week, regardless of that initial reaction when you see them. Let me assure you, 3 weeks later, 4 weeks later, as you make progress and you look back to the picture that when you first took it, you didn't think it looked very good, it wasn't a great reflection of all the work that you've done, it was a letdown, you will appreciate it then. You want to take these concrete photos, again, same day, same time of day, same lighting, same place, same clothing, same everything, because as time goes by, it will really help you appreciate the way you look, the progress that you've made, and really reinforce the training and the eating that you've done. So photos is a great way to measure your progress. Number 2 is how your clothes fit. Now, sometimes you can't appreciate the way you look in the mirror fully and certainly consistently. Your weight on the scale, I'm going to talk about that too, may not reflect what you feel that you see in the mirror. You know you're making progress. How your clothes feel, that is a direct comparison of how your body was weeks or months ago. Are your clothes fitting more loosely around the waist? Your pants around the waist? Are the love handles? Maybe if you had a lot of man boobs and you feel it being more loose in the chest area, your shirts, all right? Those are direct comparisons to the way your body was before. You might be getting bigger in the arms or in the legs, and that happens a lot when you go on a new weight training program. So it'll get tighter around the arms and around the legs. That shows that you're building muscle. But you'll get the more loose fitting clothing around the waist, a notch on the belt buckle, around the love handles and that meat on the back, all right? Around the chest area, you're losing body fat, and that's a great indication. Your clothes will be able to tell you that, all right? Also, if you're trying to build muscle and your clothes are fitting loosely, all right, that's an indication that you're getting lean to show off the muscle that you have. Be careful not to say, oh, I'm feeling like I'm getting so small, I must be losing all my muscle. You're not losing your muscle, you're losing the body fat to show your muscle, all right? And you may want to buy a smaller shirt. You'll go from an extra large to a large to show off the physique that you're creating. But number 2 is how your clothes fit. It's a great way to measure progress now that you're a little bit older. Number 3 of the 5 best ways to measure progress when you are older is progressive overload in the gym. Are you getting better? Are you getting that 1 more rep, 5 more pounds, better form, feel, and execution? Is your plan of attack working? Are you getting better? In the gym with the weights? How about with your cardio? Are you pushing farther? Or are you burning more calories in the same amount of time? Progressive overload is a great way to know that the plan you have intact, you're getting better and better and better at it. Now, sometimes your efforts aren't going to show up as quickly as you want, or the gains won't be as significant as you want. But when you are confident in your plan and you're working hard and consistently every single day in the gym, you're asking for that 1 more rep, that 5 more pounds, that progressive overload, you're tracking your progress. You're working harder with your cardio to try to burn more calories in the same amount of time. That's a great way to measure progress, because even though you may not be able to see it in the mirror, that's exactly the habits that you need to take to higher and higher levels that will undoubtedly lead to progress. So progressive overload in the gym and taking records, tracking your progress, is a great way to measure your progress now that you're a little bit older. So how are you doing with these tips? Are they helping you? Are these the things that you do? Have you learned something already that you're going to start implementing because you want to have more concrete, more black and white ways to measure progress? Post down in the comment section how much you're benefiting from this information and what you have decided to implement now that you've learned this type of information to help you along the way. Number 4 of the 5 best ways to measure progress now that you're a little bit older is weight on the scale. Now, this one's a little bit tricky because if you don't know how to read your weight on the scale, it could really throw you off, right? But you want to use the valuable tool of weighing yourself, because just like with your budget, you got to know what you're spending. You can't just hope for the best and I'm just going to earn a lot of money and I am not going to spend a lot of money. You got to know what you're doing along the way. You got to track your progress. The same thing with your weight. Again, though, you have to know how to read the weight on the scale, right? When we are trying to lose weight, especially if you haven't been feeding yourself very well and you go on a new diet and now you're eating up in a healthy manner like you should, you may gain a few pounds just because you were so starved before. So if you don't understand that part, especially at the beginning of your journey to lose body fat, to build muscle, and you gain that weight when you're trying to lose weight, lose body fat, it may throw you off. So you have to know how this all works when you're weighing yourself. I suggest that you weigh yourself every single day. And as a matter of fact, I have my clients weigh themselves every single morning and every single night. Now, you may know that your weight will fluctuate from the morning and the night. You'll gain a few pounds. And that isn't because your diet was terrible or you gained muscle. So it had nothing to do with your weight training or your eating for that day. The body's just going to fluctuate that way. But what you may not know is that your body is going to fluctuate in weight from morning to morning to morning. Even on an empty stomach, it's going to fluctuate. You need to learn that, how the weight really works, so that you won't be thrown off and then you get on the scale a couple months later and you realize you gained 5 pounds of fat because you weren't keeping track. And you won't be thinking that all of a sudden you gain all that muscle because the weight on the scale threw you off. Now, some people say never get on the scale. Again, I encourage you to get on the scale even every morning and every night to track it. You just need to know how to read it, right? So a lot of men don't know how to read the scale, so they're encouraged just to stay off the scale. I want more than that from you. I want you to be able to use this valuable tool, just know how to use it. Some experts recommend that you get on the scale just once a week, right? The same day, maybe the same time of day, right? The challenge with that is, like I said, you know that your weight fluctuates from morning to night, but you may not realize how much it fluctuates from morning to morning to morning. So let's say you got on the scale every Saturday, and then it was the same as last week. And then you think, wow, I did all that dieting, I did all that training, and it didn't work. My diet isn't working, my training program isn't working. Maybe I've got to do something else, right? But what you may not have realized is if you would have got on the scale just the day before, you might have been 2 pounds down. And then you would have said, wow, I had a great week. So you were unlucky to get a bad number on the scale when you just weighed yourself every week. Now here's the other thing, you might have a bad week of eating and a bad week of training, and then you get on the scale on that Saturday because you're doing it once a week, and then you say, wow, I'm 2 pounds down. Hey, my body needed all those cheat meals. You know what, I needed to take a break with my discipline. The weight can trick you, and it can make you think that your lack of discipline, your lack of follow through, it proved to be a good thing. So you need to know how to weigh yourself, but weighing yourself and knowing how your weight on the scale works, how it really works, is a great way to measure progress now that you're a little bit older. Number 5 of the 5 best ways to measure progress now that you're a little bit older is how effectively and consistently you are executing your standards. All right, let me explain that. Now, you have a plan of attack, how many calories you should eat during the day, how often you should eat, how many times you're going to go to the gym, what type of performance you're going to have in the gym, that progressive over, that tracking. You have all these standards in mind. And the hope is when you execute these standards, it's going to give you the results that you want. It's going to build that muscle and lose that body fat, and you'll be able to track that progress that way. Again, sometimes, as you know, you will look in the mirror or you'll be doing a lot of things right and you can't clearly measure your progress. But if you set out standards, for example, you have 10 things to do from the time you get up to the amount of sleep you get, to the amount of calories that you eat for the day, the quality of food, the quality of your workout, how consistently you work out. You have a set of standards, and let's just say there's 10. A great way to measure progress is, did you go 10 for 10 that day? Or was it 9 for 10, 8 for 10, 5 for 10? Measuring your progress by the habits that you've set up that you plan to execute, right? The standards that you have, and taking those to higher and higher levels. If you can get 10 out of 10 of the standards that you've set and you believe in your standards, you'll be on track and it'll eventually show up with the progress that you'll see. So creating a set of standards and going 10 for 10, so to speak, and constantly taking those standards to higher and higher levels is a great way to measure progress. Now, having certainty and confidence in the standards and the tasks in your workout program, in your eating plan is very, very important, right? You got to have certainty. I mean, 100% certainty, if possible, that what you're doing is going to pay off. Having that 100% certainty or as close to it is very important. Because if you have the best strategy in the world, but you don't really believe in it, you're not quite convinced it's going to pay off, you're going to have a challenge. Because that strategy, even though it will work, you're not putting enough belief and firepower into it. And you may be cutting corners and not knowing. You may be thinking you're doing everything, but just not powerfully enough, effectively enough, because you don't have that belief. That's why coaching, and if you're interested in one-on-one coaching, I coach a lot of men like you, reach out to me. I'll put my number down below. You can text me. We can contact, see if it's a good fit for you. Because what I do, in addition to giving you the most effective and efficient strategies, right, I give you that absolute certainty, so you're making sure that you put enough effort into the strategies. So when you have 10 things that you know you need to do, and you're going 10 for 10, all right, 8 for 10, 9 for 10, you're measuring your progress by how well you execute those set of standards. You'll make sure that you put enough power into them because you have that absolute certainty. And I want to help you do that through one-on-one coaching in your particular situation. Now, here are some less than ideal ways to measure your progress now that you're a little bit older. And I realize these are some ways to measure progress that you've heard from the experts. Maybe you're doing them. Let me know in the comment section if you've heard that these are great ways to measure your progress and maybe you're doing them, right? Let me know in the comment section. Number one is body fat percentages. Right? A lot of men, hey, that's a black and white number. I can measure my body fat. I can see how I'm doing with my diet, if I'm losing that body fat that I want, if all of my effort is paying off, right? That seems like it would be a great way to measure progress. The challenge is the reliability of those numbers. That's going to be a challenge, especially there's these scales, right, that measure your weight on the scale, and then they promise you to do your body fat percentages too. Those are not reliable, number one. Number two is, what number is a good number, right? Like I said, I'm telling you all of these ways to measure progress because ultimately, when you have these more concrete, these more black and white, objective ways to measure progress, ultimately, you'll be able to rely on what you see in the mirror, right? These concrete black and white ways, the 5 best ways to measure your progress while you're a little bit older, they'll give you the certainty to trust what you see in the mirror over time. All right? So you would think that body fat percentages would work, but what is a good number? What's a bad number? Right? It really doesn't matter what that number is. What if you think, I don't know, 22% is a good number, and it's really not? What if you think it should be 15? Some people look great, and they tag not a great number, a percentage in their mind. Right? It's just what you see, what you attach to them, right? I see guys with, they're not that great, that physique isn't that impressive, but they have a really impressive number because they rely on a number that may not be quite so accurate, or they look great, but the number is too high. So the numbers, when it comes to body fat percentages, are really challenging to figure out, and they're not as reliable as you may think. So body fat percentages, not a great way to measure progress now that you're a little bit older. Measurements. Measurements are a less than ideal way to measure your progress now that you're a little bit older, right? You would think, right, it's concrete, it's black and white, take some measurements, see how much you've gone down on your waist, see how much your arms have grown or your chest has grown, how much muscle you're building, how much fat you're losing. The challenge is, especially when you're trying to build muscle, you want to have bigger arms. You have this number in your mind, but that may not fit your frame. And as you're losing body fat and showing off your hard-earned muscle, those measurements may go down and you may look a lot better with a smaller number for that measurement, but you don't know how to read it. Also, when you are measuring your waist for body fat, it's impressive if you get a good number. What's a good number? What's a bad number compared to you and your frame? All right? Ultimately, again, it's going to be what you look like in the mirror. Sometimes those measurements will throw you off because you don't know how to compare them, how they compare to your frame. You're just picking out a number. Well, 2 inches down on my waist would be good. Is it? Maybe it should be 3 inches. Maybe 1 inch on your frame was great. Again, my arms aren't growing. Actually, they're getting smaller. What am I doing wrong with your training routine? You're not doing anything wrong with your training routine. Now you're showing the hard-earned, high-quality muscle. So if you take the measurements and they don't go in the direction that you want, you're going to be thrown off. I don't recommend measurements, taking measurements, even though you hear that a lot. I don't recommend those to my clients when they want to measure their progress accurately. So how did you do? What did you learn? Did you find maybe more effective ways to measure your progress? Do you understand what I'm saying is how you can be doing everything right and the mirror may throw you off, or you don't consistently see the same image even though you're doing the same things in the mirror? These ways of looking at your progress will be a better way to evaluate what you're doing. And ultimately again, when you do these things, these 5 best ways to measure progress, and you do them over time, you'll be able to ease up on those, and you'll start relying on what you see in the mirror. Your judgment, even though you want this badly, there'll be less emotion in what you see in the mirror, and you'll be more objective with what you see because you understand by having all these other ways to measure your progress. So how do you do? Did you learn something? Post down in the comment section below what you've learned, what you're ready to implement. And if you have any follow-up questions, make sure you post them down below. I want to get into discussion with you and men like you so we can talk about this, because we're doing all this work. We want to make sure that we're getting the results that we want. We're willing to change the things that we do. We're willing to change our diet. We're willing to change our workout routine, as long as we know we're getting progress. And this is a great way, all these are great ways to evaluate your progress. Hey, I want to take this journey that we're going on to a higher level. I want you to go to workoutsforoldermen.com. I have a members only website just for men like you and me, training routines, diets, motivation, personal development, the strategies, the system, now that you're a little bit older and you have a busy life, to take your body to the next level. Go to workoutsforoldermen.com, workoutsforoldermen.com. Fill out the questionnaire. Tell me about your journey, what you've done so far, what you're doing well, what are your challenges, what have you done, and what you expect from your efforts, right? I want to know everything that you're doing. I want to learn all about you. I go through all of those questionnaires myself. I'm the one who issues you the username and password into the members only website. So I see every one of them. So take your time, fill out that questionnaire thorough. I'm going to give you free instant lifetime access into the members only website and all the workouts for older men, the diets, the systems, the strategies, the motivation. Anyway, but if I see that you played all out and you filled out that questionnaire and I know you want it badly, I'll reach out to you. I'll reach out to you through a text, maybe even a phone call, to see how I can help you. So go to workoutsforoldermen.com, fill out that questionnaire. You'll get instant lifetime access into the Workouts for Older Men members only website. And when you tell me all about your journey, I may reach out to you and give you some special attention. So those are the 5 best ways to measure progress now that you're a little bit older. Photos. It's a great way to objectively measure progress, even if you don't appreciate them in the short run. Your clothes, how your clothes fit, is a great way to measure your progress, and especially when you know that being lean sometimes will show off your hard-earned muscle. So as your clothes change, you may not want to keep on wearing that extra large shirt and buy a large shirt, so you know that you're not losing your hard-earned muscle. But clothes are a great way to measure your progress. Progressive overload in the gym. How are you doing? 5 more pounds, 1 more rep, better form, feel, and execution, pushing the cardio harder, burning more calories in the same period of time. Also, tracking, monitoring, assessing your progress along the way. It's a great way to measure your progress now that you're a little bit older. Weight on the scale. When you know how to evaluate your weight on the scale, it's a great way to help you measure your progress too. But again, you need to know how to read the numbers in a way that empowers you, and not like a lot of men, it disempowers you. And then number 5 is how well you execute the set of standards that you've chosen. Are you going 10 out of 10 of the things that you know will help you get to the next level? And also, how much certainty do you have in the strategies, your training strategies, your eating strategies? How much certainty do you have? Are you putting 100% effort into them because you know they'll work? That's really important as you check off the boxes every single day and execute the standards that you set. And if you need some help getting more certain with those strategies, reach out to me. I'll provide in the description my number. You can reach out to me, text me, call me for one-on-one coaching so I can give you that certainty. Because again, that certainty in what you're doing, you can have the best plans, but if you don't have enough power into them, not enough certainty, you're not going to get the most out of them. Thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure that you are subscribed to my YouTube channel, and make sure that your notifications are set so when I post the next YouTube video, you'll be alerted. All right, also post your questions, your comments, your suggestions down below. I've got more videos that can build upon what we've talked about here today on the 5 best ways to measure progress. So watch the videos that I suggest because again, it will fortify, it will enhance, it will empower you with even more information with everything that you've learned in this video. Thank you so much. Hey, let's live with a sense of urgency. We have to when we're a little bit older. We've got more time behind us than we do in front of us. Have a great day.